it is my pleasure to introduce you the last session of this symposium. And I'm definitely delighted to introduce you the speakers that will discuss through their specific presentation the challenges and opportunities in conducting pediatric clinical trials, and of course, in particular, with regard to pediatric drug development and development in rare diseases. So I will introduce this session, being the first speaker, to give you some information on what is happening currently in Europe. Then I will have the pleasure to introduce you to Ana Grazia Altavilla. Ana Grazia is the chair of the TEDdy Network, and she will be sharing with us the work she is doing at the moment. And that will be quite interesting. Prior to moving to the presentation given by Rachel Greenberg from the Duke Clinical Research Institute, with a focus on neonates. So a very interesting topics these days, more than ever, knowing the challenges and the needs. And then it will be Leila Sahin from the US FDA CDER. Leila is Deputy Director for Safety in the Division of Pediatric and Maternal Health at CDER FDA. The last presentation will be given by Alice Kay, Senior Director PBPK at Certara, and a great presentation as well to show the value of PKPD modeling to support pregnancy and neonate clinical trial development. Then all these distinguished speakers will join me in a panel discussion that will be joined by 3 additional experts: John van den Akker, a chair of the Pediatric Clinical Pharmacology at the Children's National Medical Center; Karen Rowland-Yeo, Senior VP of Client and Regulatory Strategy at Certara; and Felix Boake-Agyeman, Senior Director of Pharmacometrics at Certara. And with that said, I will now be sharing my screen to present a bit about what we are doing with regard to rare diseases in Europe. So I'd like to thank Certara to give me the opportunity to share some of the work we are currently doing in industry, and in particular through the EFPIA, the European Trade Association, with the so-called Moonshot initiative, an opportunity to work together to make treatment for rare diseases less rare. So to set the scene, let me share the fact sheet that EMA has released on its website, and which details the central role the orphan regulation has had since its implementation in 2000 to facilitate the development and authorization of medicines for rare diseases. The number of orphan designation has increased, as well as the number of drugs registered for rare diseases. However, there are still around 30 million people in Europe who are likely to suffer from a debilitating rare disease. This represents a huge unmet medical need and a significant public health challenge. Somewhat, this slide mirrors the one we saw yesterday with a US focus. The orphan regulation in Europe can be considered a success story, as it has helped delivering treatment for up to 33 million patients with rare diseases. Indeed, since 2000, 160 plus new treatments have been authorized, and by 2019, it was noticed that there has been more than 2,000 orphan designation. The regulation has also raised the profile of rare diseases, and it has also been the opportunity to build a community as well as European reference networks, and to improve the sharing of knowledge. I'm sure you know what is currently happening in Europe. A comprehensive review of the pharmaceutical legislation, which keeps the European Commission quite busy, as well as all of us involved in drug development for the next 5 years. Indeed, more than 50 different legislative and non-legislative action will be proposed as a result of the review of the pharmaceutical legislation and of the orphan and the pediatric regulation. These days, more than ever, availability of orphan medicines is driving the debate in Europe. This figure illustrates quite well how patient access to innovative treatment can vary from one country to another. And as you can see, the numbers are quite striking. While almost all, meaning 95% of orphan medicines are available to patients in Germany, at the opposite, a few other European countries are less fortunate, such as in Poland or in Slovakia, where only 2% of these medicines are fully publicly available. For sure, these inequalities have to be addressed. At the moment, a holistic set of solutions are currently being discussed to address unmet needs, incentives, and access. And obviously, this won't be successful if we are not ready to work together collaboratively. In order to tackle unmet needs in pediatric diseases, the European Trade Association EFPIA is proposing a science-based framework for pediatric investigation plan, PIPs, that can be based not necessarily on the adult indication, but on the pediatric need the product can address based on its mechanism of action. The concept of an evolutionary PIP is also something considered by the European Commission. In addition, considering the limited understanding of disease pathophysiology and of potential drug targets precluding any investments, and also based on the discussion we had at the opportunity of two multi-stakeholder workshop organized to help better define pediatric unmet needs, EFPIA is now calling for a moonshot for rare and pediatric diseases. So what does this mean? Well, back in June, to increase equity of access across European countries, Eurodis and EFPIA have proposed the consideration of a conceptual framework for equity-based tiered pricing. And I'm sure you know Eurodis, Rare Disease Europe, is a unique, well-known non-profit alliance of over 1,000 rare disease patient organizations from 70-ish countries that work together to improve the lives of over 300 million people living with a rare disease globally. This is why Eurodis have joined EFPIA to call for a moonshot for basic and translational research for adult and pediatric rare diseases. Let's look at the details, some of them. Eurodis and EFPIA, which share the goal of ensuring broader and faster access to orphan medicinal products to all European patients, have decided to join forces to launch a moonshot for rare and pediatric diseases and propose impactful solution. It is expected that more coordinated, targeted, and collaborative basic and translational research will allow unlocking new wave of innovations. This shared goal will certainly encourage all the stakeholders to work together on defined areas of priority based on better coordination of basic research, investment, and infrastructure. This will be, of course, the opportunity to build on public-private partnership and to leverage existing initiatives such as those within IMI, the Innovative Medicines Initiative, and its successor, the Innovative Health Initiative, IHI, which have shown the value of multi-stakeholder collaboration. The approach is not only supported by Eurodis and EFPIA, but also by other industry associations, the European Commission, and some other European initiatives on rare diseases. This slide is just to illustrate how the Moonshot initiative will contribute to enhance diagnostic and therapeutic capabilities in rare and pediatric diseases in alignment with existing rare disease initiative in the current policy context. This should be the opportunity to establish a series of public-private collaboration which would help driving investments into white spots in rare and pediatric diseases. So with this Moonshot initiative, what is the expected impact? Well, the Moonshot is expected to be an important catalyst for innovation for patients affected by some of the 95% of rare diseases without treatment option. For the time being, I'm sorry, but I cannot share all the work done so far to unlock the basic science and look to synergy with existing initiatives, but hopefully we will be allowed to provide more details in the near future. Needless to say that EFPIA companies are definitely ready to engage because we believe it's the right thing to do, and this will have a significant impact of patient lives, hoping our work will be a game changer while benefiting at the same time of the next IHI call for proposals. We are quite conscious of the challenges we are confronted with, knowing that these challenges were already nicely detailed yesterday and are also mentioned, on these slides. Just, to summarize, there are, of course, obvious key barriers to clinical development. Developing drugs for rare diseases involves complexities and challenges beyond those typically seen in common condition. And that for most of rare diseases, disease etiology, biology, and natural history are most often insufficiently understood. This is why, as mentioned previously, it will be quite important to leverage the good work done already in Europe, as well as in the US, through public-private partnership. So that will be the opportunity to use the best tools and methods, to use them at the best in order to help optimizing drug development for rare diseases. And some of these initiatives are, mentioned on the slide. There are a number of IMI projects, such as, the Screen for Care project, which is looking at shortening the time it takes rare disease patient to get a diagnosis and a treatment. EUPERL is exploring the concept of platform trials. Of course, Connect for Children is quite a well-known project aiming at creating a sustainable, integrated, pan-European collaborative pediatric network to speed up and facilitate the running of high-quality clinical trials in children while ensuring the voices of young patients and their families at our heart. And I notice Mark Turner is online and is definitely someone very active in this consortium. And there are others such as IDEAL and Inspire, also quite interesting since they have looked at innovative study design for small population. Also, moving forward, there will be, of course, the need and the opportunity to connect with existing initiative of interest, and some are mentioned on the slide. Of course, there are others. Remember what we heard yesterday from Marina Koloshavina with regard to the Five Voices Consortium. So clearly, this will be the opportunity to connect, all this good work together in order to strengthen, our activity and to be able to move forward collaboratively together. So to summarize, all the stakeholders involved in research and development are taking steps to promote alternative clinical study design and methods that go beyond randomized clinical trials. Devising more efficient, less costly strategy to answer questions about treatment effects and patient benefits are key to shift to personalized medicines for targeted patients with high unmet medical need. This could involve developing and qualifying new biomarkers or fit-for-purpose PROs, or designing pragmatic, adaptive, or platform trials that can allow evaluating multiple treatment more efficiently. This will also improve. This will also imply improving using existing tools or methods. And we recently heard, again, the value of modeling and simulation approaches. But that could be as well, looking at using at the best real-world data, as well as, of course, existing regulatory processes. Of course, no need to mention that there's always the value to have, not only a collaborative activity to bring, all the necessary expertise at the table, but also to have early discussion with the regulators, knowing that on top of this, it's quite important to bring in the patient so that, we are able to be better at designing our clinical program. And prior to moving to the following presentation, I would like to, take the opportunity to promote a few interesting virtual workshops that will happen in December. One is being organized by the IMI EUPERL Consortium. And it will be all about, what the project has been doing since, its inception, around platform trials, knowing that the diseases in scope at the moment are NASH and neurofibromatosis. And the other one will focus on the use of digital health technology in drug development. So thank you for your attention. And I'm definitely looking forward to the panel discussion. Thank you.